Okay, it's 13:30 hours, August 9th, 2021. Ward Green here. And I want to update. I just finished eating drinking the matcha tea and cream with maple syrup after the fish cake, and the fish cake was after the blueberries. So that's all I've had today. I'll work that out later, but I just wanted to document that so I can, in case I forget when I write it down, it'll be correct. Didn't have any yogurt yet. I'm thinking about having a salad, but now I'm full. So what I've just eaten probably is about 300 calories or something. I'm guessing, or between 300 and 400, somewhere in that range. It's not much. I didn't eat a lot, but I'm full. I'm definitely full, and I've taken my supplements too. That's partly why I'm full. Everything except the magnesium. I've got to take the magnesium before I forget, so I'll do that. This is what it looks like. Oxide is a small caplet, and the capsule is bigger, and it's still a small one. That is the chelate, magnesium oxide, is the hard caplet. Oh wait, it's not right. That was a citrate capsule. This is what that is the comparison. Oxide, chelate. They're almost, one is not much bigger than the other. I had them mixed up. I never get them mixed up usually because I'm not shooting a video usually. So I'll take also, I've got I usually take those two plus the two bisglycinate, which are bigger capsules. They're quite a bit bigger. And that's what I start with. And that's usually enough to move my bowels before I take the citrate, which I need for later on, overnight, tonight. I'll need this. But I'll take it earlier during the day, right now. Even right now, I'll take all 6 of these citrate if I need them. And that's up to a total of 2 grams. All of this magnesium is 2 grams of magnesium, 2.1. More than 2 grams of magnesium. That's a lot of magnesium. Is that right? 6 times 150 is 900. And plus 2 times 200 is 1300. Plus 250 for the oxide. It's 1550. No, it's not. It's 1625. Okay, 1675 with the chelate being 125. How did I get 2 grams? 6 times. Maybe I had forgotten the correct number for the citrate. Or maybe I had citrate that was a higher milligram. I doubt it though, but that's possible. But 6 times 150 is 900. It's not. And then 2 times 200 is 400. That's 1300. And 250 is 1550. Plus this at 16. So I was taking 1.675 grams. Okay, so that's not as much as I thought. It's still a ton. 700 should move your bowels, a normal person. So according to Dr. Carl Reich in Bob Barefoot and Carl Reich's book, The Calcium Factor, 700 grams of magnesium should be all you need. You always take it with calcium, 1,400 or so, or 1,400 or 1,500 milligrams or 1.5 grams of calcium every day. So every time I take a drink of milk, I'll add 1 coral calcium to supplement the calcium, because number 1, coral is a natural sort of food, so it's not really a supplement. And number 2, I could just take more coral though. I can take, but the problem is it has mercury in it. That's the reason why I don't want to take. It's ocean, marine coral, so it has mercury. So I don't want to take mercury, obviously. Somebody said that selenium. I think it was Dr. Jamnadas who said that selenium, or maybe it was one of the other doctors, Dr. Berg maybe, somebody said that selenium counteracts mercury. I think that's what they said. I think that's what they said, and I can't remember who it was. Well, I think it was probably Dr. Jamnadas, but I'm not sure. He had all kinds of scientific charts and showing all these things, all kinds of different things. But not that it would show that. It didn't show that, but it showed selenium content or mercury content correlated to selenium or something. I don't know what it showed exactly, but I mean, we absorb only some of what we watch. We don't absorb it all. We can learn only so much. And I wasn't focusing on that at the time. I was probably focusing on just trying to get an overview at the time. But it was fascinating to me that you can actually counteract mercury somehow, whether it's selenium or not. Maybe I'm wrong about that too. But whatever it was something like that. Something simple, a simple way to counteract mercury like that, by taking a supplement making sure you have enough of that other element with your mercury. So, yeah, that's right. He studied the fish. I remember now. It was showing all the different fish and how much mercury they had in them, and it showed not only the mercury but the counteracting element was shown with the mercury, and the fish that had lots of the counteracting element and only a small amount of mercury, they're the healthiest to eat. I'd never seen that before. That was new to me. So I'll be looking at that again. And yeah, he was joking that the one that had the highest mercury relative to this corrective, counteracting element, the one that was the worst to eat, he said was unfortunately, apparently, he was implying it was unfortunate, but he was joking that was one of his favorite fish, or his favorite, one of his favorite foods of all was this deadly one. It was just, it was a rare fish. No one ever eats it. It was a whale. It was one of the whales that had the highest level, and nobody eats whale meat, so it doesn't. He was joking, but obviously he was joking. Everyone laughed. So, but using this chart, you could determine what the best fish were to eat. So I want to look at that chart again. I think tuna I forget. I need to know though, because I'm eating tuna all the time right now. I mean, I like tuna, so I need to find that out. See, there's so many things to research. You just can't do it all right now. You can't do it all can't do it at the same time. But that's one I want to know. I think it may have, it was in the talk he gave called The Fat Lies. It was in that talk, The Fat Lies. If it was him, it was in that talk, The Fat Lies. And he gives the Fat Lies talk, and then he gives the Bittersweet Truth talk. I think it's after those two that he gives the Fasting for Survival talk. They're all good, but the best by far is the Fasting for Survival. That's the best one of all of them, in my opinion. But they're all, he's just right on spot. Everything is humorous, and just he's probably getting better through practice, by giving these talks too. But he just hits, he makes fewer mistakes. Everything is, because he makes mistakes in the Fat Lies where he says one thing and the chart says something else, because he can't focus well enough on what he's saying. He can't quite stay in the moment, so he's which we all suffer from to different degrees. And I find myself doing that, but if we have a lot of facts in our head, then we do it more. It happens more that we will say one thing when we mean something else, because we have so many facts. So hopefully we're not misunderstood, hopefully, and we correct it later on. So I think that usually is the case. So it's not a big concern. It's more important to have more facts in your head than it is to be correct in everything you say, because these other facts are coloring the tone of what you're saying, and they're causing you to say something that appears wrong because there are more facts. So therefore, it might appear to be wrong what you're saying, but it's because of these other facts that this information is being jumbled up. But it's perhaps more truthful because it may include these other facts, but it doesn't appear to be at the time. It's a subconscious perhaps a subconscious well, definitely it's not conscious, so it must be subconscious. It's a subconscious I don't want to say process, it's a subconscious effect that's happening, and whether it's beneficial or not, I mean, it makes people think too. They're watching the lecture and they can see that he's saying something wrong according to the chart. He's not consistent with his slide, so it makes them think. That's a good thing. It makes them think, so it embeds the information deeper in their head. That may be the divine reason why God wants it to happen that way, but we don't certainly want to say things wrong. We don't intend to say things incorrect, and it may not be incorrect if it helps people in some other way. So, and especially when they have the slide to compare it with, they can decide for themselves which is correct. So it's better, right? The multitude of counselors is better. So, yeah, that's right. So it's actually better for him to, if he said what was exactly the same as the slide, it would be redundant, although confirmatory, or confirmatory, whatever, confirming. So let's, yeah, I need to say, my stomach's too full to eat salad, but I'm thinking about that watermelon too. I got a watermelon, a beautiful, it's bigger than it's about the size of a beach ball maybe, or, well, no, not that big. I mean, it's the shape of a beach ball. That's what I said. It's more the size of a basketball. It's a basketball. That's what it is. Exactly that size. So it's going to be, too much for one person to eat it, and it's a high glycemic index for fruit, so I don't want to eat it all at once. I want to eat very little of it. So I'm going to want to cut it and store it in my fridge, so I have to wait till my fridge is empty enough so I can do that as well. So I'm not going to eat that watermelon right away. I'm going to have to figure out how to eat it. When in my eating regimen. My eating regimen is going to change, but I'm sure it'll be closer to what I used to eat when I was 30 years old, because I'll be fasting more like I was then. I'll be fasting, but I'll be fasting for longer periods, far longer periods than I was then. But maybe once I've lost the weight, I may not have to fast as often. I don't doubt I won't have to fast. So as long as I can maintain the weight, I won't have to fast. I'll be able to eat. Maybe I'll be able to return to the way I used to eat, but I didn't used to eat with this. I didn't used to take supplements, so my eating was completely different back then. What I used to eat, I don't know. But whatever it was good to some extent, because I wasn't putting on any weight at all until the year that my wife died. That's when I put on the weight. So 2016, I put on weight. And I was busy helping her. I wasn't focused and didn't even notice I'd put on weight until it was too late. And it's a very serious problem. Putting on weight is an extremely serious problem for health. But for belly fat in men, it's one of the more serious ones, because no one can get rid of it unless they fast. I mean, there's no other way that I know of. There's no drug that can do it. There's no food that can do it. And the thing I really was wanting to say too was that food, the revolution in food is the idea that food. Well, I've said it already. Food is the cure-all for everything. Not eating, fasting is the cure-all, because food is the most toxic thing. It's the poison. Food of the body. Unless you know exactly what food to eat, then it's poisonous. So it's not scary though when you realize that, well, if I eat the wrong food, I can always fast again. So I mean, because fasting heals everything. Your body can heal itself. If you eat the wrong food, okay, then you can make sure you eat all the right foods as well after that. If you eat something that you think you realize after you eat it, though, that I shouldn't have eaten that, You can also eat all you can eat all of the good stuff you know you need, and then you can start fasting. So your body can then heal everything by depleting and burning all of the stuff out of your body, all the junk, all the dead cells, all the injured and damaged or damaged mitochondria in the cells can be repaired or just killed, eliminated. You won't need them because you're fasting. You don't have a need for the mitochondria. Apparently, that's what they're saying. And then when you eat again to refeed yourself after the fast, new mitochondria will be created and new brain cells. And the new brain cells is the most astounding and reassuring and revolutionary part of this whole thing. I believe that's because the brain is the most. By the way, my eyesight's better today. My eyesight's actually better. I mean, I still have floaters on the side of my vision, but either my brain compensated or the floaters got better. Because I don't have, well, yeah, maybe I do have it. It's much less. On that monitor, no. I might be about to get a migraine though, and that disrupts vision. I get migraines, and I don't know what causes them. But, you know, I thought my tinnitus had gone away after this fast, but then I noticed I could still hear it. After I said that, I noticed I could hear it again. But it was when I was in that state where I thought I was like a baby. I couldn't hear. I had no tinnitus. So it was so low that I couldn't hear it, or could barely hear it, and that hadn't happened for years and years and years. So it may be that's curable, maybe. And I've been thinking that yes, as long as I've had the tinnitus, I've been thinking, how do you cure it? How do you cure it? Because I believed it was curable. And so instinctively I know that the tinnitus is curable because it's just caused by, I didn't damage my ears, by too much loud noises. It wasn't that, so it must have been caused by, I didn't believe that was true anyway, but it wasn't the other ear, just this one. If I'm damaging ears with listening to music, it's both ears. So it was only one ear. It's only one ear that had that. And the eyes now, I mean, seriously, this morning, the reason I say my eyesight's improved is because usually in the morning I can't see as well. But right this morning I've got the same clarity of vision that I normally have after a whole day, and even then it's not this good. I mean, usually I have to blink a few times and maybe do this with my finger, and then I can see the small print. But right now, I mean, the thing is, it's not that I can't focus on it, but there's other floaters coming in, stuff like that. There's floaters, but those floaters now are not affecting my vision. So, I mean, I see them around my periphery of my vision, but the floaters are not coming into the central part. You know what? That could be the brain correcting it. Could easily be because I had floaters one year with Ann and I went to Florida. What year was it? I forget, but it could have been as long ago as 2006. One year that we went to Florida, I had floaters because I damaged something in my eye. It wasn't floaters. What was it? Yeah, it wasn't even necessarily floaters, but I was taking photos of sunsets with my direct view camera. It wasn't a single lens reflex, which would protect your eyes. This was a direct view, cheap and inexpensive camera. The light was coming right through, and it was hitting my eye from these sunsets. Now, nobody said that everybody that I talked to didn't, of the doctors, I think I only talked to my eye doctor, but no one that I ever talked to thought that this would harm my eye. I mean, nobody said, oh yeah, that'll harm your eyes. In fact, the contrary, they said that shouldn't do anything to your eyes. But I had a brown spot in my eye where on the drive home from Florida, I couldn't see out of that eye, and I thought there was dirt on the windshield of my car. My wife was with me, and I was driving. I thought there's something on the windshield, but it was this eye that was dark. I couldn't see. So after we got home, whenever I was in a dark room, I was blind in this eye. Virtually, I couldn't see. It was almost blind, so I had trouble. And then when I went to the eye doctor, he said, well, that shouldn't have caused it, and your eye looks okay. He told me I looked okay. But I went home, my retina was okay apparently, but I went home and it got better on its own, probably because I think of the brain compensating. So this left eye should be defective because of that damage I did back then, right? I mean, if any eye, it's this one that was the one. So now the floaters, I think what's going to happen, now there's no floater, I can't see the floaters. Like, well, yes, I do. I do. When I move my head, suddenly I see a floater going by, you know. But earlier, when I'm sitting still, when I'm sitting focused, I have perfect vision right now. As soon as I move my head, I know, oh yes, I have floaters. But when I'm sitting still, there's nothing that I can detect as a floater. Move my head slowly, nothing really. I see a few floaters. When I move my head slowly, I can see a floater appearing sort of just between my two eyes, right about there. When I stop moving, I can see. But then, yeah, sometimes when I move my eyes, I'll see a floater. But really, it's a big enough floater that it disturbs the vision. But there's nothing disturbing it when I'm looking. Generally, it's just perfect. So I've got apparently perfect vision now after a 3-day fast, and 2 more days of refeeding, 1 meal a day, under about 600 calories. What did I estimate it was? What was the most I ever ate since that fast? How many calories per day have I eaten? I mean, I've eaten. Today I ate less than 440. Yesterday was 440. The day of the, that was yesterday. And the day of, it was 660. That was it. 660 calories the day that I broke the fast. Then 440, and now less than that. I've eaten less than 440 because I ate the same things as yesterday, but less of it. I didn't eat the yogurt with the pineapple. Well, I ate more blueberries, but that's not a lot of calories. How much is 6 ounces of blueberries? I think it's 48. Is that right? No, that wasn't the blueberries. Look up the blueberries now. Let's look up the blueberries. Where is it? Where's the blueberries? Oh, I'm not on the right page. I'm way far away from the page. Okay, how much is blueberries? Okay, 2.5 ounces. I said is 37. That's not right. Yes, it was. I looked up 3 ounces of blueberries. It was 48. So 96. 96 is the amount of blueberries. 96 calories of blueberries. So that adds back on. So that's going to be an additional 59 calories to add on to. Well, it wasn't 660. Actually, 600. I read that wrong. Wasn't close enough to it. I don't read with glasses on because these are not reading glasses. So I misread it as 660, but it's 600 when I read it without my glasses. So it's I have very good close-up vision because my eyes are short-sighted. That means that I can focus on items that are this far away, where no one else can do that, no matter what their eyes are like. So, I mean, no one else unless they're short-sighted. So short sight is perfect for close-up detail work. What we have is 600. No, I said 710 because I had 9. I forgot the 9 ounces of cream, so I went up to 710 because I underestimated the cream. But today I had 3 ounces less cream. Yes, I deliberately, I didn't measure it, but it's about the 6 ounce level that I had today, maybe a little less than 6 ounces. So that's going to that's going to reduce that back 3 ounces. How much is the cream? Yeah, 221 is 6 ounces of cream. So instead of, I added 110 because it was 9 ounces. Now I'm back to 221. So wait a minute, why did I add 110? Yeah, the 110 added to 600 becomes 710. So that's how I got the 710. So that's half of 221. But I'm going to go back and say we have to start with 600, but now subtract the, should we subtract the 83 calories, or do we? I added the vitamins. Right? And I had rye bread that day. So I have to take away the rye bread because I didn't eat that today. That's 83 calories I'd have to subtract. Plus I had more blueberries, which adds 59. So let's take the difference. Well, what's the difference? I'm going to be good at this. It's 24. I can do that in my head because my brain is sharper. 24 calories difference. I'm taking away 83, and I'm adding 59. So I therefore subtract 24 from 600, and that's the right number. 576, right? Except I didn't have the yogurt, so we got to subtract that. 576, and then subtract the yogurt, which is 82 plus 40. 576 minus 122. So that's 450. So I've had 450 calories today, it looks like. But why is that? Because the other day I had 442. I had fewer blueberries, so that's why. I had about the same. 442 yesterday, 450 today, roughly. So it's very close to the same in terms of. Did I say 450? 576 minus 122. Oh yeah, I said 454. Right. So 454 is a little bit more than 442. It's 12 calories more today than yesterday, which is negligible, I guess, because these are approximate calculations. So I've just done another 25-minute video. It's a lot of information. You can't learn it all from you can't learn all. You can only use this as a reference point for your own research and your own I don't want to call it experimentation, your own controlled fasting. That's all. Your own important discovery work about your own body and how fasting affects it and how eating affects. Fasting is all about eating. It's all about eating and not eating. It's about food. Fasting is about food. Your body can feed off of its own fat. So fasting is about food. That's what it's about. It's not, I've got an itchy nose, so I wouldn't be scratching it if it weren't itchy. But fasting is about food. So we're talking about food here. But the dangers of food is what makes fasting so beneficial. So anyway, that's all for now. Ward Green, love again. And I've got to make a movie about this very soon, I think. But, love to everybody. And bye for now. Okay, August 10th, 2021. 17:43 hours, and Ward Green here. I want to demonstrate, I want to show how I make the movies in DaVinci. So I've already done the initial part, which is you have to tell DaVinci that you have to add the directory that you're going to be using to store your video files. You have to tell DaVinci which directory that is in your preferences. You have to add that directory to the preferences of DaVinci. Once you've done that, you can then go to the media pool, or go to the media tab in DaVinci at the bottom, and take the media somehow. I'm not sure if there may be more than one way to do it, but you can go to the left side of the upper part of the screen. I'm using DaVinci 14. I don't know what it is like in other versions, but you can get access within DaVinci. You can go into the folder where your files are, your videos, your clips, and then you can drag them, select them and drag them as a group or one at a time into the media pool, and they won't disappear from the place of origin. They'll just reappear in the pool. Then when you have your pool ready, you're ready to, when you have all the clips you want in your pool, then you go to the edit tab. So that's where I am now, and I've dragged one clip from the media pool, which is, or the master it's called. Now it's called the master, up on the upper left, and I dragged one file from there, the first one. But I've now realized that's not the first one. It's the last two. What's this say? Let's see. Let's drag this one. Okay, here. It won't stay. So let me just move this one along. I'll drag this one and see what it's. Drag this one into the timeline, and I'll try playing it and see what it says. Okay, Ward Green here, 16:14 hours, August 10th, 2021. Yes, so that's today. So that's the introduction. I might even make another clip right now, but if I did, I'd have to transfer it here onto this iMac. This is my studio iMac. Oh yeah, I have image capture. Image capture is part of High Sierra, and I can use it on this. I'd be able to make movies, but I've never done that, so I'm not going to try to do that. If I want to add something, I'll try to do it later, maybe, or I don't know. I'm not sure what I'll do yet, but I'm making this clip. Yes, I'll try to add this to the end of this movie, I think. But what I wanted to add too was I just remembered something that was important to the idea of this clip. That the idea of how, well, first of all, it's, even though there are very knowledgeable people who do fasting, it's still controversial. There are some people who shouldn't do fasting. That's another thing. But what was it? I've forgotten what I was going to say. That there was something that seemed very, very important that I wanted to say at the beginning, at the end rather. Why at the end? I don't know now. It wasn't at the, no, it was something I had intended to say at the beginning, but I didn't have a real plan of what I was going to say. But it was something, it occurred to me that I should say. Whenever I do try to rehearse these things, I do think of, I don't deliberately try to rehearse them, but I think of ideas, and then I think, oh, that should probably be in this introduction that I'm going to do. Or I should probably make an introduction because I've just thought of this. But yeah, the idea behind fasting is it can give you back a lot of your health that was lost through eating. And eating is a dangerous thing, and not something that you can just, it's not healthy to eat. That's the fact of the matter, unless it's done right. It's not healthy to eat, so it's dangerous, and usually it's done wrong, no matter what you do. So eating is dangerous, it's unhealthy. Fasting is healthy, but you have to eat at some point. So there's a real challenge there, and I'm sure I talk about this in the video too, in the clips, but I'm just trying to remember, there was another point that I thought was the proper way to introduce it, and it's I've forgotten, so I'll stop until it comes to me. No, I won't stop. I'm showing, what am I saying? I'm not going to stop the clip. I'm going to make the clip, but maybe it'll come to me. Okay, so everything I do is very unplanned. So what we're doing here is, in DaVinci, we can drag our clips in the timeline. This is a very short clip, this one. So that's the timeline, that's not the clip. There's the clip, okay. So this is a very short clip. I can put it back to back after that clip. Maybe it'll work. I don't see any audio for that clip yet. Why is that, I wonder? See if it has audio. Yes, it was the, yeah, it does. In the lecture, I had to look something up. So these are the clips that are going to be in the final video. That's why I'm going to put this at the end, so it's not a dead giveaway. I could use some of the clips as a preview, part of the preview for these other clips too, but you know, I'll do that only if I think that that's necessary for my audience to grasp it, I guess. I got to move this. I have to rotate this. You know why? Because it's videoing. Maybe I can zoom this thing too. But this thing is videoing. Half of the screen is being wasted on some part of the room that's not even in the picture. It's not even relevant. There we go. So now I can lean back, maybe in my chair, you know, and I can still talk. So that's better. Okay, I'm going to sit up as close as I can to the keyboard, so that's better too. Better again. I'm going to pull my towel that I'm using to keep the chair clean. Okay, so this is 612. Is that the first? Now I'm going to go back to my list. Here's my list of files. This is the first one, 612. Then it should be 1915. So that's the second one. And then it goes on from there. So if this is not 1915, no, I haven't done anything after 612. 1915 should come next. So I'll go up to my master on the upper left again. I look for 1915. There it is. Drag it in, right? It comes in. Put it right after the other one. Now I don't have to do it this way. I could do it. I could do a certain number of clips at a time, what I've got here now is I've got up here a 37-minute clip, or movie, 37. I can stop right here, save this, call it part 1, whatever, or I can just keep building the long movie, and then I can take chunks from that, and it's called deliver. You deliver the final movie. I can go to the color tab, readjust the colors if I want. I don't think I'll bother because I'm not interested in doing this to impress anyone. I'm doing it as an educational service. It's not really, it's not really there's nothing wrong with doing that, but it takes a lot of time. So, and it's very urgent that I know what it was I wanted to say. Yes, okay. That's what I wanted to say. Something I just remembered. This is the most important thing I'm ever going to say on this subject, I believe, and I wanted to say it. And maybe it'll end up being, I don't think it'll be in the introduction because I've already decided on the introduction, but I do think this is coming at the end of the video, that I've already had 2 uncles, my father and my wife, who've died. And I want to say that every time that happened, that after they died, I learned something that I believed would have saved their lives or kept them living on. Every time, okay? Well, at least I can't say that for both of my uncles. I think for my uncles, for my second uncle who died after my dad, I think he was after my dad. And I'm not absolutely now. My dad died in May 9th of 2019, and I don't have the date of my uncle's death on at my fingertips. But I believe it's not that important. But of course it's important when people die. It's not as important when he died. Or the idea is after my dad. Well, they died of different things, so I didn't learn. I didn't know my other uncle well enough to know how I could have helped him. I think that's it. But my dad, but I feel like what would have helped my dad would have, the fasting. I feel the fasting would have helped everybody. Okay, but maybe not my wife, because she lost weight. She was dying. So, but my wife, she was losing too much weight, and she was in danger of breaking a bone, and it was, osteoporosis and all that is dangerous. So, in the case of my wife, it's not the same. But what I learned after her death, it was still similar, that she needed to eat less. That was it definitely was the cause of her death was overeating. I'd say definitely, because they force fed her in the care home where she went. They had a practice of force feeding people by taking away their clothing and keeping, like, their outer clothing was taken away so that they'd be cold and they'd want to eat, because their excuse that they gave was because they were claiming that the government would accuse them of starving people, and they were trying to force feed people. How wrong is that? So let's not even start talking about that, really. Honestly, it's we have to go there again sometime, I believe, but not now. But the thing is, so fasting definitely had a role to play, that it could have had a role to play in prolonging all of these people's lives. That's what I'm saying. But in other cases, it was something else I learned that may have. I think in the case of my Uncle Don, it was vitamin K2. I believe that would have helped him, probably. But the fasting is the best thing. It's the universal thing that everybody generally, in this case too, I believe would have benefited from, even if they had cancer or whatever. This overeating of foods, this is killing. It's feeding the cancer in the case of cancer. So, anyway, cancer is. And the idea that Dr. Jamnadas says too is that the idea that cancer is a genetic thing. He calls that, I forget his word, but the general gist was ludicrous. He thought it was a complete lie. Now that was in, I'm not sure which of his videos it's in. He's got 3 videos that I've seen. The Fat Lies, The Bittersweet Truth, and Fasting for Survival, and it could have been probably in any of those, but I would say my first thought was maybe Fasting for Survival. It's in there, but yeah, because that's the one I've watched more than any of the other. That's they're all probably good depending on what you are interested in seeing in a video concerning nutrition or whatever. But let's carry on here. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, but I'm not quite finished in what I was saying. So I learned something after people died that could have saved their lives. Okay, so that's why I'm in a hurry to carry on here, because I want to get this done. I don't care how it looks. It may save somebody's life, and if I don't get it done quick enough, someone may die, and that's why I'm interested in doing it. So that's the reason why I'm in a little bit of a hurry here. We don't want to be in too much of a hurry, because then that might cost us more time. But I'm going to try to do it as quickly, as efficiently as I can. 16, 8, 6, so it goes 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, everyone up to number 28, they're all in order. 17 is next, 1917. There it is. Right? These are all right side up. Fortunately, I learned how to make right side up videos. I don't have to flip them all. A lot of them I do have to flip, but not this, not these ones. There's 19. That was 18. Okay. 19, 20. Here's 20. Good. Let's shrink it down a little. There we go. You can shrink your timeline by, there's a slider up just above to the right of the controls, which are above the timeline. The right hand control is the slider. So the right hand of those controls above the timeline. Okay, so let's go on to one that was 20. Here's 21. I've got to go up to 28 now. So let's see how long our clip is now. It's an hour and 37 minutes. So obviously if we're making individual clips, we would have stopped unless we want an hour and a half movie. Let's see how this ends. Okay, it's an hour and a half. Cream, by the way, and the maple syrup, that was matcha tea mixed. Matcha practice is learn how to keep going. Are created, and that nothing comes from nothing. In our world, we don't see computers come out of nothing. They have to be created. So if you don't believe in God, you're not going to believe So what happens at the very end? That's what I'm trying to find out. Right, I'm trying to expand. Oh yeah, I need to use a slider. Okay. I need to get right near the end. Oh, I know, the problem is it's got the clamping on. The clamping, snap to line. Yeah. Or how much? That's a really good question. That's the best question, maybe. That's a really good question. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. So okay, I'm going offline. That was one of the best videos I've made so far, I think. Yeah. See, that would be a good place to stop if we want to make it in parts instead of doing all at once. I think I might want to do that. I mean, we can do that, right? But that would be an hour. That would be an hour and. Well, now it looks like an hour and 40. Looks like an hour and 40. So. Starts at 1:00 for some reason. That's what timelines start at. 1:00. Now it's at 2:40, which is 1 hour and 40 minutes. So we have to figure out: are we going to produce it in videos that are that long? Because that'll take a long time to upload too. Or, well, that's a good place to end, though. That's the thing. So I do want to do that. I think that's where I want to end that. I said it was the best video ever, so I think we'll stop right there, and that'll be our first #1 video. So I'm going to save it as, first of all, let's go back. Where's that? Save at? No, save it. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's save it as. Save it as a name. It doesn't take a lot of memory to save the thing. You're not saving the video clips. You're just saving all the editing numbers, which are just a few. It doesn't take much. So let's say, I'm going to say part 1. Part 1, okay. I'll go Arabic numerals, I think. I'll put a hyphen to separate. So it's part 1, okay. And then maybe I'll even put the hour and 40 minutes in there. But I don't know the exact duration. Is it 1 hour and 41 or 2 or what? I don't know. So part 1, I could put, well, how am I going to determine that? There's 20 minutes there, so that's 10. I can see the scale. It's about more than 1/10. It's about 43 minutes roughly, I think. Oh, there it is. Look, it says. There it is. 1 hour, 42 minutes and 33 seconds. It says up at the top of my where it's running the video. It has that. That's where the cursor is sitting right now, right at the end, and it's saying 1:42. So I can say 1 hour, 42 minutes. Okay. So let's say 1 hour, just to keep track. It's going to be useful. 42 minutes. It's going to be very useful to know what the clip is like just from the name of it. It's called First 3-Day Fast Ever for Ward. That's what it's called. That's just the only name I could think of on short notice. So we're going to save that, and then I'm going to export it, okay? It doesn't take long because it's a simple film right now. It doesn't take long to, and then we can export. There's a shortcut for that, which is Command E. That's the faster way to do it. I'm going to my place where I'm saving it, so I should have copied that, right? I should have copied that. I need to copy the name, okay. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say save as. And when I see the name of it, I'm going to copy the part that I want. There it is. And then cancel that save. And then I'll come to the export again. I'll just say Command E. And then, oh look. Oh, it now, for some reason, has the right name. Well, right, okay. But I have to put a hyphen, okay. I have to say hyphen 002. It's got the length. I want that hyphen to be separated also. Well, actually, this is the first, but I want it to be clear that they belong together. So I probably just call it number 2. No, I'm not going to edit it anymore, am I? It's going to be the way it is. I want to render it. It's going to take a while to render. But I can get this out there quickly on the internet and then work on the other clips. That might be what I want to do. So, and I don't want this video to be long either, but you get the idea of what I'm doing. This is how I do it. This is my studio. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this had double the video memory for my other iMac. They were almost identical computers, but I got double the video memory in this one. It makes the video run much smoother. Well, I mean, if I make a complex video with multicam and all that, it would probably slow down a lot, but I'm not doing that, so it runs like fast. And this is a very old computer, so I don't need the most up-to-date equipment to do this. Am I going to save that? I better save it. I don't know whether to call it number 2. I guess I will. Yeah. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll keep on sequencing as I go on. So they're all part of the same movie. So now what I'm going to do is go to deliver. Okay, we're going to deliver this video. Is that true? Just a minute. think it's looking like I have video everywhere on this timeline. Yes, I can see it. I'm going to go to deliver. Okay, so when we go to the deliver, we go up to the YouTube. This is in DaVinci 14.1.1, I think it is. It's DaVinci 14, and we go select YouTube 720p. That's what I select. And then I can alter the resolution if I want to, but I mean I don't do that. I don't change the frame rate. I don't change. I don't think I change anything. I change nothing. It's H.264 is the codec it's using. I just leave it alone. Oh yeah, one thing you have to be sure, it's rendering single clip. I want this all as one movie, one clip. It's not going to render each clip separately. I could do it as multiple clips. Individual clips, I could render them separately. Maybe I should do that. If I did that, I could put all of my clips on the same timeline, right? Oh my goodness. I wonder if I should do that, because a lot of people probably don't watch if they don't have the time to watch all of it. I've got to think about that. I've got to decide that quickly. But if I do render to individual clips, then I want to get all my movie done first, which is many hours, and then render all the individual ones all at once. You know, one at a time, all at once. Do it in one render. It'll just render it all. So that's what I need to decide right now. Am I going to render them? Some of them are 1 minute long, and if they're on YouTube and they can't find them, they won't know what order they're supposed to be in. If they're not in the right order, you know, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if I can trust YouTube to get them all, you know, set up so that, and I don't want to add anything at the end of the movie that says here's part 2. I'd rather not do that. So I don't know what to do yet. Let's pray about this right now. Well, I know in the past, I've always done, you know, long movies. I'll do an hour-and-a-half movie. I'll do it in lengths that long. So I don't think I should do anything because other people do it. That's the wrong approach. I don't think these short clips do anyone any help anyone. That's what I think. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to render it. So we're going to say, go down to the bottom, add to render queue. There's a little button that says add to render queue in the render panel on the upper left. And then once I click add to render queue, I have to decide where will I render it. Okay, I'm going to render it here to the. I've got to add a new folder here. Okay, I'm going to look for the movie transfer. Right. Let's add a new folder to that. No, I'm not adding a new folder. Let's find. Okay, wait a minute. Let's look at it. Okay, let's go down to that folder. Let's look at the folders. Movie transfer. Movie transfer. DR render. DR render. There should be a DR render there. That's where I put my rendered movies. So that's what I want to put there. Okay. How do I do it? It's a DR render. How do I add to that? I don't know. I feel good right now, I'm you know, I'm not. I'm excited, and I'm kind of worried about the people who might be dying from eating too much. But it's not going to do us any good to hurry. We got to get this done correctly, and Jehovah can resurrect. You know. Jesus said, you know, Jesus talked about the resurrection, but Jehovah can resurrect. Well, he resurrected Jesus because Jesus couldn't resurrect himself when he was dead. So, but Jesus may do the other part might be done by Jesus, the resurrecting of everybody else, because Jesus created all things after Jehovah created him. All things were created by Jesus, whether it was, you know, whether we imagine that Jehovah did it through him as a mediator, or whether we just imagine that Jehovah created him and then Jesus did all these things. So it was through Jehovah through Jesus that Jehovah did it, because Jehovah created Jesus. Jesus was faithful to Jehovah when he created all these things. So anyway, so whoever's going, I need to research that again in the Bible. I need to look back and see who is the person who oversees and actually affects the resurrection. But let's see. It's not bad to get distracted on things like that, because those are important spiritual things. The resurrection is the hope for all the dead. So all the people who have gone to sleep in death. So let's just see what we're doing here now. How can I add a folder here? Well, I said add new folder, right? It wants me to create a new folder. DR render. Oh, it's here. There it is. It found it. It found the DR render. There we go. I'll say OK to that. And there, it's added it. And now it's going to render it to the movie transfer. No, wait a minute. Yes, it's high Sierra data. That's right. But that's the wrong. No, that's the wrong. That's the wrong thing. That's added it to the wrong place. So let's go back again. No. I don't want it there. So let's go to our preferences. Okay. How do we change our render? Oh, I know. Here it is up here. Yeah, browse. This is how I should have done it originally. I don't want that one. Yeah. I was looking in the wrong place. So let's go here. Here we go. I found it. Here it is. That's all I needed to do was double click it. Double click movie transfer, click on DR render and say OK. Now we've got the destination on the correct drive. We add to the queue and we commence rendering. 1814, we've started rendering. OK. So it's now rendering a 1 hour 42-minute movie called First 3 Day Fast, or whatever I rename it to later. I wanted to call it Miracle Cure, but I should call it New Brain Cells or something. That'd be a good name. It's 1% done. So at that resolution, if I try to render it at that resolution, which I'd like to do, it's going to be fairly slow to do it. But now I can now, what can I do now? I can add to that timeline and render a portion of the timeline and start rendering that too at the same time, but it won't speed it up because it'll have to render two things at once. It's not going to change the time that it's going to take. So I need to wait till this is done. Then when it's done, I would like to take it, or is it handbrake I've got out here? Have I got handbrake? I wonder if I have handbrake here. No, I never download. I did download handbrake, but I haven't installed it. I don't want to clutter up this computer because it's a studio computer. I don't want to put anything on it, for the longest possible time, that I can keep this drive from developing any problems, which they always do when you add things to them, and then it won't boot properly anymore. So this boots like in 15 seconds. I've never seen my other one. My daily computer takes 2 minutes to boot, more than 2 minutes. This is like 20 seconds, something like that. 15 seconds, I'm not sure. But now you see how it's rendering? It'll tell me how fast that is. It's 33 minutes remaining, but that's going up instead of down. It says 30 minutes remaining on the upper one. So Now it says 30 minutes remaining. Okay. So I believe that 30 is about correct for the amount of time remaining. Is it rendering? So it's rendering at much faster than standard speed, as you would see if you can see how fast you can see how fast my body is moving there. It's rendering, more than twice as fast, more than 3 times as fast as normal speed. What do we call normal speed? Regular speed? I mean, standard speed? Slow speed? I mean, average speed? No, I don't know. What do we call it? Normal speed. I'm not sure what the technical term is for it. Normal speed? I guess it's called normal. But it's rendering fast. And see now it still has the amount of time remaining has gone up. But so I better but it will go down again. It'll jump down. Yeah, it just jumped down. So now it says 29, 30. The bottom one jumps all around. The top one consistently goes down. There's 2 indicators. This one is at 29 minutes now. 28, 59, and 28 minutes, 58 seconds, and going down. So it's going to take half an hour, so I might as well shut this off so we don't record unnecessarily. So bye for now. I was just talking to the camera and it was turned off, so I might as well start it up again. Editing is arbitrary. It just occurred to me, I'm not going to edit anything here because editing is arbitrary. There are countless snippets of information throughout all of these clips, and I'm not going to edit it for that reason, and also because editing is purely arbitrary. It's not natural. Why do it? I mean, I really haven't viewed things that way in the past. I've done editing before, and I've done quite a bit of it. It's just, to me, if I were out there listening, that's not what I would want to watch either. I wouldn't want to see something that's processed. Just like, the idea of processed food, it's bad for. That reminds me, all processed foods have these vegetable seed oils in them, according to Dr. Jamnadas, and he knows a lot about this subject. And one of them is canola oil. So I've been eating that when I eat potato chips, and that's not supposed to be good because it's processed food. Just the oil is processed. And to make these vegetable oils, they have gigantic factories, as he describes them with some other word probably, but gigantic, complex factories that make these vegetable seed oils. It's not vegetable oils, it's vegetable seed oils. All of the different, there's many different types. I guess grapeseed oil, or no, that's not a vegetable, is it? But he talks about all these vegetable corn oil. High fructose corn syrup is thought to be one of the worst foods ever as far as health goes. And he definitely agrees with that. So, but he knows so much more. But anyway, this is progressing nicely. We're up to 31% now of this first one. I don't see why I should videotape all this stuff though. But anyway, when I get to the end, we'll be done, and I'll be publishing it. Okay, so if it's still August 10th, it's 18:25 hours in the year 2021. If Ward Green, if anybody wants to get started on doing something else, I don't know if there will be any more information that I will give in this epilogue, or whatever I'm going to call it, at the end of the, I don't think it'll be named, but this, if you've got an introduction, what's the part at the end called? The summary? Or no, this is an actual how-to make videos, or how to use DaVinci. That's what it is. It's just a sort of a supplement, I guess, to the video itself, but it'll be included in the video. Well, it'll be a separate. No, it may be a separate video. That's right. It may be a separate video because I'm chopping them all up. It has to be. It probably will be separate, but if it is, it might be short because I may not talk a lot. So there might not be a lot of information in this supplement about DaVinci, about nutrition, and there might be something because I can't predict that. I've already said a few things, but if you want to start fasting, and you need to go out and do something, and you don't want to watch this video, you don't have to. So you don't have to continue watching this video, because all the information that I could give was in the prior footage, as far as I'm aware. And I'm going to be continuing to learn. I believe I learned a lot even today about eating. I learned something. I had watermelon again today, by the way. Yeah, learned a lot about that. But if you have time to watch this, you're welcome to watch this, anytime. But this watermelon was good today, the watermelon. But it added a lot of calories, I think, and it's a high glycemic food. And I had bacon which I had to cook it was bacon that was going to be expiring in 1 week from now, and so it was good to cook it now. And I'm glad I did. It's the best bacon ever, and it's got the proper amount of salt. Whereas if you buy the mainstream bacon, it's got no salt at all, and you'll die eating that because there's no salt. That's what I really believe, that salt is good for you. Now, the salt they're using might not be good. Don't know what kind of salt they're using in that bacon. So, but it's probably better than no salt at all, considering you don't eat bacon as a high percentage of your diet, probably. I don't. So it's not going to make any difference, probably. Although, really, everything makes a difference to your health. And I really don't want to have anything in my diet that's not of the best quality. But bacon it's a good high-fat food, saturated fat. Now, the problem is I'm frying it, and that's not good for the health. So you definitely want to remove all of that excess fat once you fry it. Don't over fry it, probably, or what am I trying to say? Well, try to fry. You don't want to eat anything that's been damaged by heating, the cooking. And unfortunately, that's what happens to bacon when you fry it. It gets damaged, right? But if when you barbecue things, that's okay. So I think it's mainly the liquid fat that flows down into the pan. It gets at a higher temperature. That's what you don't want to eat, because that's why barbecuing is healthier. So I just I crisp the bacon a fair bit, almost to where the bacon that I'm going to eat, I'll make it crisp enough to eat. The other bacon that's going to be stored in the fridge doesn't have to be that crisp because I'm going to be reheating it. So, but I'll just use a little bit of bacon with my tomato, and I'll have dark rye bread, and I think, did I put butter on it? No, I used mayonnaise. I forgot the mayonnaise this time because I ate the rye bread without toasting it, so I just had rye bread and butter. And then after I ate those 2 pieces of rye bread, they were fantastic, by the way. I feel incredible. Food tastes amazing now that I've had the fast. So it's really worth it for anybody who's got an accumulation of anything in their body over a period of time. And I think most people do. And I think young people, I'm not sure if that's why, but they may be eating out of bad advice from people as to what to eat when they're in their teens. I'm not sure if this is why they get acne. It might be because of what many people claim it's from what they're eating, or they say that when they eat sweets when they're in their teens, they get acne, right? So breakouts when they eat certain things, maybe high fat or maybe whatever. There might be claims about that. But it's certainly believed to be related to what they're eating. And the thing is, if that's so, then maybe fasting is the answer, not this other thing. But if they're still growing, I don't think fasting, it could stunt their growth. I don't think we need to or want to cause fasting. But when and growth keeps going into your 20s for even for men or whatever. Now, women maybe mature earlier, and maybe when they're, younger, they can do it. They can fast. I don't know. I haven't got enough knowledge about that. That's another thing that should be investigated, but it should be very, very thoroughly understood before attempting a fast. Once you're past that age, let's say you're 30 or, I guess even 25-year-olds could fast, but it depends how bad their eating habits prior to that were. Perhaps they may not may not feel. I think I was fasting when I was in my 20s. I was doing it without doing it for longer than, I didn't do it longer than maybe not longer than 12 hours even. I don't know, but I was fasting intermittently without realizing it was fasting. I just didn't have time to eat all the time if I was busy with something. Or I don't know if I actually, I know in my 30s I did. I just don't remember my 20s as well as my 30s. My 30s, I remember when I was living here in my 30s, I was 25 when we were married, and that was 1982, and then 2 years later, I moved here when I was 27. Yeah, 27 years old when I first moved here, when we bought this house. House is now worth not quite 4 times as much as assessed by the government. Now I don't know if the government assesses it as less than its market value or more, but for tax purposes, this house is worth almost 4 times as much as it was when we bought it. So it seems like it was a good investment. That was 37 years ago. Yeah. Not quite 37, but 36 years ago. And almost 37. Oh, wait a minute. Something happened. A frame was dropped. It dropped a frame. Well, that's not the end of the world. It dropped one frame. It told me about it. And it's still running. So I'll check. We'll have to check, and we'll scrub through the finished video when we're done to make sure that it's got what looks like most of the frames. But I mean, this is a very professional program. You can get it for free, called DaVinci Resolve. I'm using version 14, but they have more recent versions. I'm just sticking with the version I started with, and it's got Fairlight, so music, audio. It's got a music section, which is from Fairlight, and Fairlight they were the second most famous synthesizer company after Synclavier, I think. I would say they were second, not first, in the rank of what the best synthesizers were back in when I was, I don't know how old, but when I was younger. Probably around the time when I moved here. For one thing, I became aware of these things, but they'd been around for a while by that time, I think, maybe, some of them, but maybe not these ones. But Fairlight and Synclavier were the ones that produced. And I've got an ES8, which is another sampler. It's a sampler synthesizer, a lot like the Fairlight and the Synclavier were, I think, but it's much more, economical, much less money than they were. Like back then, they were $50,000 for some, or $100,000 for some of these things, or $250,000 you could pay for a sampler synthesizer like a Synclavier. It's a lot of money. I don't know if I'm remembering correctly. It could have been $1 million that you might, but it just depends what they were custom built. I mean, you could have whatever you wanted. I mean, it was built like that, so it's not like there was one price. But a lot of my videos I'm calling it part of the SAW project, but I don't know which ones are which for sure, because I don't know for sure. I'm just calling them SAW, part of SAW, which is Software Audio Workshop. But I know that some of the songs that were the audio productions, that were songs that I wrote for what I call the SAW project, were actually made on this ES8. They're actually not made on SAWs. So I just think it's much too complex if I start to try and differentiate too many things. So I will just say that SAWs includes the ES8. At some point I'll have to make a note of that officially, but like I believe, I don't even want to say which ones because I could be wrong. I know Dream Baby was made on SAWs, that I know. That I'm sure of. But other than that, the other ones in the SAW project, I'm not going to be sure for a while. Maybe I never will. But I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure that all the ones that have the multi-instrument, like, but I can't be absolutely sure. I would say that's true, but why would I, you know, the ones that have the multi-instruments, like all the brass and the guitar, synthesized guitar, and all of these sounds, all on one recording, they were made on the ES8. So like Fine Fight, well, even Endless Sky, yeah, Fine Fight, Endless Sky, and what's the other one? I know there's another one there. Or whatever it is. Oh, I can look it up. We're 41% done. Oh, no, wait a minute. It stopped because it dropped the frame. So it's not progressing. It's going up in terms of how long it's going to take. It failed. How can I get it to resume? Well, maybe I clicked on something that said stop instead of okay. Stop. We're going to have to cancel that. We're going to have to render it again. That's bad. That's bad news. Can't I delete that? It's not stopped yet, maybe. It's canceled. Bad news. I can't add to render queue. I can't do anything right now. It won't let me stop. Maybe it's crashed. Something went wrong. Quit. I don't need to save it because it was saved before. So what I'm going to do is I got to force quit DaVinci. I got to redo it. I'm going to redo that whole video clip, that whole render. It must have taken when did we start? Somewhere around 18. I don't know, actually. We're going to start this up again. Wait a minute, what's happened? Here it is. Yeah, okay, that's the one. That's the one I want. 1 hour, 42 minutes. Okay, we're ready to go. We're at deliver, right? We're going to say, here it is. It's ready to go. It's rendering it to, oh, it's not got a location. We need to find a location. That's going to be right there, there, and there. So there we go. Start. That job was canceled. So add to render queue. There we go. Let's close the canceled job. There we go. Now let's start the render again. We're starting the render. So that was a terrible thing. Now let's note the time. 1841. We're starting. I don't. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. This stuff is important. This is important information because, and it may be that the drug companies are going to try to stop us too, because they're going to lose a lot of money from people doing healthy things. Not just fasting. I mean, if we made a movie about eating vegetables, or anything healthy, eating raw food would be healthy, but not if it's meat or something that needs cooking. So it's rendering. Anyway, I enjoy talking about this. Maybe this part I will edit. This part at the end, I don't know. That was a waste. It's a 17-minute clip right now, but I can't stop talking. I want to talk. I want to have a record of my life in case I die, right? I guess that's what it is. I need to have a record of my life. This is the studio. I can talk about the studio. We're in the studio. We don't normally get time to talk about it much. Now I built this room. I built the room as the ceiling. I wanted to say, I built the room, but it was here already. There was a room in the house, but I built the ceiling. It has plywood on top. It's mounted on resilient channels. So the ceiling, the second ceiling, has a top on it that's airtight, and then there's an airtight bottom layer to the ceiling. So it's an airtight with an air gap above, and then the original house. So it's actually, you wouldn't know that unless you looked above, or you could see in, and you'd never see all the details unless you cut it apart. But it's been built as a serious endeavor, but by me alone. I built it alone. It was my work, all done by one man. That I don't get to talk about that much, very much. It's not even, I didn't really get to finish it completely. I had many more ideas but they're still ready to be, completed, implemented. But look at this, it's rendering, okay. It's getting there, but I don't want to, I feel like without the camera, that I'm going to think of something that I want to say, and therefore I should say it. So what were we talking about? Next time I'm going to be careful when I see that there's a drop frame. I wonder if that's going to happen again. Yeah, and if it does, I better make a note of where it happens and see. What can I do? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up online right now. What to do? Well, what I can do? Yeah, if Da Vinci drops the frame. If Da Vinci Resolve drops the frame. But also, I could talk about I could shop online right now, but because I don't think it will cause a crash. But I want to shop for computer equipment right now. I'm thinking about whether I should upgrade my computer or not. And in order to do that, I've been talking about it out loud, and I've been saying that you can only decide one thing about buying a new computer. You can decide if you're going to buy one now. You can't decide if you're going to buy one in 5 years or 10 years, because, in my opinion anyway, because in 5 years or 10 years, if you don't like anything on the market, you shouldn't be compelled to buy one. You should never buy something you don't absolutely love. Or you should never buy at a time when technologies are not converging in such a way that you're convinced this is the best time to buy. Right now, Thunderbolt 4 indicates that technologies are converging right now, and now is a good time to buy. It looks like, but I know what's going to happen as soon as I buy a Thunderbolt 4 computer. Right after that, the powers that be in the satanic business world of computer design and sales are going to immediately design a way for Thunderbolt 4 to become obsolete. That's what's going to happen, and it's going to be a question of when it's going to be obsolete. But because it's compatible with so many technologies, it's going to be difficult for them to do that. without the public knowing that they're, that they're being hoodwinked and robbed and everything else. But generally, the business world doesn't care what the public thinks. All they care about is making money. So it's not going to stop them, but really they want computers to work too. So to some extent they want. But what will happen is, well, it may be for some other reason, but maybe the devil will cause easy fix. Maybe the devil will cause a new technology to appear, and that will supersede Thunderbolt 4. That's probably what's going to happen. But once that happens, then everybody will be phasing out Thunderbolt 4, and then it will take a while, but it will phase out. So we shouldn't spend too much money on whatever we buy now. It's important. If this fails this time, I may render them as individual clips, and we'll see what happens then. If that works, then I can do that, and I can upload them more quickly, one at a time. But I need to I want to process every one of them with Handbrake to compress them down to a much smaller size for uploading. So it'll be easier to upload them that way, much faster. I don't want to take up bandwidth. It's 18% done. So apparently a drop frame should not be an issue. Something else happened. Something else went wrong apparently. We don't know why it didn't. But if it went wrong last time, it could well happen again the same way. That might just not render this project. I don't know. I've never had DaVinci ever fail on a render before. But it was slowing down to where it was suddenly back up to 34 minutes, of more than it was originally supposed to take. It wasn't making any progress. So it had gone for a long time, and then it suddenly it managed to go up to 34 minutes for the render. I don't know why. Why would it be going down below 30, and then after a long period of time it went up above 34, so it wasn't making progress. So Thunderbolt 4 is pretty powerful, but it's obscure. It requires a lot of research to find out how these things work and with what they're compatible, with what technology they're compatible, how to use them in the real world. That's why most people never do what I do when I design a system and bring together the components and build them into a system of connected hardware, because they can't do that without having the knowledge of. They need, first of all, to figure out how it all works, or what's compatible with what, and to know that other people have done a similar thing. So most people just buy a computer, that's it, and they try to buy it with whatever peripheral they want, so they don't ever have to add a peripheral or do anything technical. It's not usually easy at all to do anything technical, even for someone who's an engineer like I am. I mean, computers are not designed to be simple at all. They're not designed to be. Okay, what's happening? Well, you can see that, yeah, the screen is changing. When you see the screen changing, you know. I can see it anyway, the screen is changing. Therefore, now I could make this brighter. Maybe I could do that without crashing my computer. Let's go to screen. Bright. See how bright it is? There. So you can see that screen. You can see me moving around on the screen there. In the picture. This is in the morning. Some morning, one morning or other. So that's me lying in bed in that particular frame, talking and waving my hands. Now I had it set for somewhere around there in terms of brightness. Pretty low brightness. I set it as low as I can. It helps conserve the life of the monitor. Okay, let's go back. I mean, while I want to research things while I'm doing it, but I don't want to get distracted from what I'm doing either. I'd like to research there are some very, very nice Thunderbolt 4 docks. I'm going to find out what the best ones are. I've been doing that. I've been researching it already. They're out of stock. They're not available. You can't buy a Thunderbolt 4 dock because Thunderbolt 4 is the up and coming thing, and everybody's sold out. So now there is one you can buy. There's one brand you can buy. I want to buy that one, I guess. It doesn't seem like a bad one to me. It sounds like a good one. It's got good reviews. So where are we going to find them? Here's a question. Are there USB 4 hubs? I don't know the answer, but let's see. Let's move this so I can see my render. I want to watch the render while I'm doing it. So the amount of technology is very confusing because they keep changing the standard. Now they've come up. Originally, the faster USB used a USB-C connector. Now they've gone. Now maybe they always had this, maybe not. I think they've gone backwards and said now we're going to let you use standard USB connectors. But maybe it's a different cable. Let me think. Maybe it's the same cables that they're using that you had before. So that's why they're using the older type connector. And they're still giving it the more modern speed of the high speed, which is 10 gigabits per second instead of 5 gigabits per second. So that's a backward step in the connector type, which could confuse everybody. I mean, if you don't know everything, so you need to be incredibly wide in your comprehension. Let's see what we've got going on here. I was up to 41% before it crashed, so if it crashes at 41% again, we know we have a problem that we'll have to change, right? What could have happened? Let's check our activity processor. I mean, our activity. Let's get our activity monitor running here under utilities. Activity monitor. Okay. System. User. We have nothing idle. Well, the reason why we have nothing idle is because we're rendering a movie, so it's busy. This is not meant to be a fancy or showy display as a movie. It's just intended to be for information, and it's revolutionary. It really is. I mean, it is totally revolutionary to make new brain cells. I can't talk properly right now because I've been talking already for so long. I don't know. There's something wrong with my mouth in its ability. I'm tired a little bit. I'm a little tired. There, I've slept. So it's maybe what I was saying was hard to spit out, but it's revolutionary. The idea that you can make new brain cells. No, nobody ever believed that before, and this is what they're telling us now. You can make new brain cells. And I felt it in my brain. I could feel it. I could feel the difference in the way I felt about everything. After my 3-day fast and after I broke the fast, that night I felt a renaissance of my brain, like major. I don't know how widespread it might have just been. Even if it just produces 2 new brain cells, then when those brain cells have to hook up, you feel it as a big change, because these brain cells don't have any memories. Maybe that was what it was. Well, whatever it was, I felt it, and it was like being a baby again, like being very young. So something happened, and I want that feeling to carry on every day of my life, actually, when I feel life is new. And I do feel, I guess I'm used to it now too. My new brain cells, I'm used to them now. So but I feel, happier, like more well adjusted than I was. Much more. I'm much more content than I was prior to the fast. And I look at myself on cam, and I see a different person too. I'm seeing a different person. It really had a change. It really made a change. It caused made a difference. It, caused a change in my personality as well as my physiology. So and I see a different person. I'm not kidding. I don't see the same person. So I don't know if other people will notice that I'm different either. Maybe they will. But I'm a better person now. I can feel it. I mean, healthier, and but that allows you to be better too in other ways because you're healthier. So, look, we're at 43%. We passed that problem. We've gone past it. That's good. That's good, right? Da Vinci does occasionally crash, but it's rare. So I'm glad it happened, because then you can see Da Vinci's not perfect, But 44. Still going up. We'll just see how well it goes, like for the rest of it, everything we do. But this is going to be. I'm excited about so many things. About my own old computer, my own computer, which is an old one. I'm even excited about that. This fell. What was it? Where was it? The towel just fell on the floor. There's no dust on the floor either. Because of the HEPA filter system that I have in my house, which is a dust removal. Very fine dust can be filtered out using the HEPA. Because of that HEPA filter, I don't have any dust in the house. I don't have to vacuum in this room ever. I guess never, because Well, there's some dust on the speakers, but the floors don't look like there's any dust at all. Don't know why I'm coughing. There's no dust in the air. I mean, there's nothing at all in my house. Virtually, I hardly have. You know, over a period of months or years, yeah, you'll have to dust. But I've never had to dust in here for maybe never. I don't think I've ever had any dust in this room. Why is that? I think it's because this room is protected from the outside, maybe. No air comes in here from outside. That's what I think. So there's dust in the outside air maybe that comes in. Because this room doesn't have dust. I've got dust covers on things, you know, or I did, but maybe I don't need that anymore. So it's really incredible. And and the HEPAs make a big difference in your personal health too. Like they definitely do. You can feel it. But especially if you have allergies, but I imagine anybody would feel the difference, you know. It's probably worth it, but you have to pay like hundreds of dollars every year for these replacement filters. Some years anyway, like every 3 years you pay several $100s to replace your main filter. It's not cheap. In Canada, it's more expensive than the US probably, but anyway, it's worth every penny if it makes your health better. So there's the cal digit, which I know about. I didn't know about the Zico. Let's look on Amazon for the Zippo. Amazon. We're at 51% now for the render. Let's look up the Zippo. I'm still burping up because of I'm just burping up air, but it's because of the watermelon. Zippo compact dock. Does Amazon even carry it? No, they don't. No, it's Zico. It's not Zippo. Zippo is a lighter. Okay. Let's try Zico. It's not there. They don't have it, so did we spell it right? Yep, okay. They're out of stock, you know. Kensington has one. Let's check for Kensington. Well, we need to look up. We need to look up Thunderbolt 4. I'm getting sort of sluggish and sleepy, and lethargic is the word, where I'm too lazy to enunciate. I want to rest. Well, this is rendering because I've been working all the time, so I want to rest. So that makes it hard to talk. You know, I'm going to get sluggish in my talking, and that's not good. But I need to rest. I need a break. I didn't sleep enough last night. That's the reason. Wow. I've looked into many options, like I could possibly buy a Thunderbolt 3 device and hook it up with the Thunderbolt adapter to my computer. It would work. I'm really thinking about getting a new computer, so I'll need a monitor. So if I get because I want to get the least expensive computer I can, which is the M1 Mac Mini. That's the least expensive one I could get, and it's very powerful too. But I might be better to get the iMac, the new M1 iMac, but I don't like it because it's too. I think it's too expensive for what you get. You have to pay too much to get it. Apple has but they do come with a great screen on them, I think. Maybe I want to buy a separate monitor because it leaves me free to use that monitor again later, on another system. So that's what I'm thinking. So the Mac. I need a break. Take a break.